Good afternoon, everyone. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and I am your literary ambassador. And today we have Charlotte Patrick Barron on my channel today. Welcome, Charlotte. Welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry, it's Harriette Patrick.
Harriette. Why I say
like
Charlotte?
Harriette Tubman.
Right.
That's all right. It's a beautiful name.
I was thinking Charlotte for. Okay, I'm sorry. So tell us a little about yourself.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Harriette, and I am an author. I am a mother. I'm a caretaker, a former crisis mental health caseworker, former child abuse investigator, and all those jobs, titles, whatever you want to call it, I feel like was given to me so that I could use it all actually in my writing. Everything, every position, every job I've ever held, it's come out in my writings. It's come out in my experience. And I love people. My thing is for you to go bitter. Don't be bitter, but get better. And everything that's happened to you, I live by this motto, use it as a stepping stone, not as a burial ground. So I've had a lot of things that happened that did make me bitter and could make me bitter, but we dug up that bitterness and we got better step by step. And so that's a little bit of my story, a little bit about me. I have two beautiful children that were both born at 1 pound each. Very difficult pregnancy struggle. They almost was not here, but God is faithful. And I'll tell you, whatever you're going through right now, I'm a witness that there's help on the way. So yes. That is a little bit of my story, my introduction, and I'm so glad to be here today.
Okay. Harry, tell us about your books.
Well, my first book, I call myself the accidental author. This is my first book, and it is available on Amazon.com. It's called Coffee Time with Daddy. That's a personal account of when I was a senior in college. I was a victim of a kidnapping, sexual assault, held at gunpoint for 8 hours, and was promised that I would not be alive. And, when the person was about to pull the trigger, they had a change of heart and a change of mind instantly. However, we know that it's not a coincidence because I was there praying, and God promised me that He'd let me live. And so I came out of it. I was broken. I was bitter. But thank God, one step at a time, I was able to get back right and get my life back together. And this book, Coffee Time with Daddy, is the story of that account. And not just of what happened, but how I felt, how I rebuilt it one step at a time. And it's helped a lot of young ladies that have been victims of molestation, of sexual assault. I go deep in this book. And so it has really helped a lot of people. So you can find that. For some reason, I switched, and I never knew that I was an author. And I was an author, but I didn't know that I was a novelist. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm so sorry. In 2017, I began to write. I'm so sorry. Around 2017, this story was just birthed in my heart. Actually, I had the story some years before, but I just began to write, and it came out as a novel. Now, I don't have that one with me, but the book is called The Conversion of the Thug. Mm-hmm. I'm telling y'all, if you know any young person, I'll say boys and girls, young adults, people in their 30s have been touched by this book. It's the story of a young man who used to be in a gang. And he was converted. He gave his life to the Lord, but he struggled with his past. He struggled with, I'm going to say spirits from his past that harassed his whole family. It was like this thing of failure that everyone failed. Everyone had anger issues. They did things to hurt each other, like generational. Mm-hmm. And finally, it came down to him, and he'd fallen into that same generational cycle of his previous people. However, now that he accepted Christ, this angel comes to him and gives him the keys how to break that family evil cycle. And it's really good. There's fighting in here. There's demons and angels doing warfare over this young man, but he has to ultimately make his own decision. Is he going to walk in forgiveness, or is he going to fall into that same trap, that same family cycle that has been previously just ran through his family? So it's really good. It's based on my father's experiences. My husband, who is a former gang member, he was my main character, and just some things that he went through. It's realistic. Matter of fact, men in prison have been reading it. Ladies in prison have been reading it. And just teenagers, like it's a really good book. So if you know anyone struggling with anger issues or dealing with their past and can't seem to break free, as some families, everybody goes to jail. No one graduates. You're like, what is this wicked cycle? Alcoholism is wicked generational cycles. And so the story that God gave me, to put it in a form of a novel, and you can see the pattern there. And it's actually helped people. Some people called me crying after they read it, like, oh, they said, okay, now I see why my family's like it is. And I also give you a solution at the back of the book, which is the prayer that you pray, and just asking God to give you the strength to break that cycle. So y'all got busy, and a few years later, I didn't think I had another novel in me. I thought, okay, well, just one and done. However, another story came to me. It's called By This Time Next Year. This is the current cover. Y'all, this book is really good. And I don't say that because I wrote it, but it came out of my heart. Now, I can tell you, you can't get it right now, but in a few weeks, you can go to my Amazon page and you'll be able to find it. I'm doing some cover redesigns. It's going to be beautiful. But this is a story, y'all. How this book was birthed. My youngest daughter is 4. She was born at 1 pound, 2 ounces, only given a 10% chance. And it was a long road. It was a long road. I spent 6 months in the NICU, which is the intensive care unit for babies born premature. 6 months, y'all, every day. Well, you know what? She had a bad day. She was on life support. And I was like, oh, Lord. And I just began to talk to her. And I was like, Christina, I wonder by this time next year, we're going to be running. You're going to be laughing. I just began to just speak hope. Now, it didn't look good, but in the face of that, I began to speak hope. You're going to be running. You're going to be laughing. You're going to be getting on my nerves and spitting out your food. And I could every day, by this time next year, by this time next year. And I began to write a story about a young lady who, of course, had a situation like mine. And she faced love and loss and trauma. But however, there's a lot of laughter in the book. There's some funny things that, if you've ever been to a Black funeral, you know it can get out of control. And there is a scene in here that even just everyone laughs at when I describe a funeral that I've been to that was just out of control. It was hilarious. So there's joy in the midst of pain is the message that shines through. There's a lot of tears in here, a lot of laughter, a lot of love, but you can have joy in the midst of sorrow. Yes. So that's the message from this book. And I'm telling you, it's a novel, but I've had women in their 60s, 70s that love it. I've had ladies in their 20s. I've had teenagers. For some reason, it seems to be something in here for everyone's experience. And so I was surprised by that, but I'm excited by that. And so everyone has the same thing. They said, when I pick it up, I could not put it down. So those are my books that I have currently out.
Okay. Now, the Conversion Thug, what age group would the reader be?
You know, Conversion the Thug, 12. I'm gonna say 12 and up. I'm gonna say a mature 11-year-old, only because something almost happens to my main character, and you know, he's almost molested. And so what it is this: once you get to read it, something happens, and he's placed in that position. And you know, I think. Now, kids are real mature, you know, this time, but I'm going to say 11 or 12. It's not real graphic, but it's where they can understand, oh, okay, this is what was about to happen. So I think that's a good age. And actually, that's a good age for them to know because they're facing a lot of things at that age as well. So maybe it sheds some light, but I'm going to say 12 and up.
Okay. Who is your favorite character in all 3 of your books and why?
Child, that's a great question. I have a character. I'm going to start with Conversion of the Thug. Now, he's not my favorite, but he is the most changed. His name is Tweeny. And this is my main character name is Samson. He's the one that used to be a thug. Well, the angel takes him back in time and he meets his grandfather, Tweeny. This man is mean. You talking about domestic violence. He's abusive. He's unwanted. But I show you very clearly how he was born under very, very hard circumstances. He was unwanted. He was unloved. And he grew up, and I'll make this clear. This is my mental health casework coming through. When he was a child, he was very mean to animals. And people overlook that he was cruel to animals. That is key when you're dealing with children with mental illness. If they're setting fires, being aggressive, hurting animals, that's not a good sign. And so that needs to be corrected before they wind up in prison or killing someone else. That's where that leads to. And I showed that that's where that started. But he was rejected. He was unloved. And so he was mean. I mean, he had a spouse that he just was so horrible to. But here's the thing, something happened in his life. Just when the reader's like, "Oof, there is no hope for this man. I can't stand him." He meets someone that actually blesses him in the midst of all his anger and rage and just horribleness. He meets someone that speaks a blessing in his life. And through circumstances and through his own grief, he turns a corner, and you show him just being humble in himself. I don't say anything else about him until the end of the book, so you can know what happened to him. I'll leave it right there. But you get to see he is going for a change. He's headed for a change. And I'll leave the reader with the question, is he going to make the change or is he not? And you'll find out that in the end of the book. But he's one of my characters that stands out because he's so awful. And if God can change him, if he will allow it, then he can change anyone. So he's my character in Conversion of the Thug. And my favorite character in By This Time Next Year is my main character. Her name is Secret Belle, because she's a lot like me. Some things she went through. She's different than me because her attitude is sassy. She's smart. She has a bad temper. She don't take no stuff. I mean, she'd be on the front line protesting and punching. That's the one right there. And so she's out there, and she says exactly what's on her mind. Now, I'm more reserved, and I've been run over because I don't say a lot sometimes when I shouldn't. But she just says it, like it or not, there you go, deal with it, And so she just says it, but she has a lot of anger, but on the outside, she's beautiful. Her hair is short. Her hair is always together. Clothes match to the nine. You're like, wow, she has it all together. Great job. Great relationship. But inside, she's broken. So she goes with you. You go with her on her journey after a loss and different things. How does she deal with that? And you see her change as well, becoming this beautiful woman, this whole woman, not a broken woman, but she's on a journey and she fights her way through. And by the end of the book, you'll see her, the change that she's made in her life. And so those are my favorite characters in my novels, are those two.
What is your overall themes of your books?
That's a great question, because when I was writing, I never thought about a theme. But when I go back and look at all my books, they are all about change. I never even thought about that until literally a few months ago. In every book, it's about change. It's about people coming from bitterness to better. It's about inner healing. I guess that would be my theme. Like I said, I never even thought about that. But in every book, they all need an inner healing. They all need to find peace. They all had some kind of trauma. And my goal is to get them to a place of peace and to get the reader to come through a place of peace. And I never thought about me putting my own situations in these books. But of course, I'm the author. Of course, it would be in there. But I didn't even connect that. And I thought, you know what? I've went through a lot of trauma in my life. I've went through a lot of times where I needed to find peace. And I think that comes out, you know what? I know that comes out in my writing. It comes out in my quest for healing and my quest for peace. And then it comes out in me wanting the reader to find peace through my work and to find just healing for their broken heart. So I believe that's the thing for all my books, even from the first book to the current book, is healing, healing, healing of that inner heart.
Okay. What is your genre and what draws you to this genre?
That's a great question as well. I started off writing, I guess you could call it self-help, inspirational, and which is my first book, Coffee Time with Daddy. But then my genre switched to, I'm gonna call it inspirational romantic fiction. Well, I'll say the last book is like inspirational romantic fiction, but my middle book is inspirational fiction. Now there's a new category, inspirational urban fiction. And so currently I fall into the category of inspirational urban fiction. When I look at Conversion of the Thug, and by this time next year, they're both contemporary, they're both urban, and they're both inspirational. So I thought, that's a new category. I think I fit in that one. So as you know, as an author, it's going to change as new terminology comes out, as new categories. You may fit here one year and fit there the next year. So I'm going to say currently it's inspirational urban fiction.
Okay. Would you like to read from one of your books?
Yes, I would. Okay, y'all know what? Thank you. I'm excited. I'm going to read a little bit from By This Time Next Year. Only thing is changing is the cover, but the words are the same, and y'all are going to love this. This is, well, you know what? I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to introduce you to my lady. Chapter 1, A Powerful Secret. Secret Lakeisha Bell considered herself a 21st century woman. Living up to her name, she would admit that she held several secrets from her own mother. She was educated, fun to be around, worldly, and could take care of herself. Secret had worked hard to get her Master of Science degree in nursing. She had graduated at the top of her class. Her nursing scrubs were always neatly pressed, and instead of wearing athletic shoes, she wore spike heels, matching, of course, every day. People describe Secret as beautiful, classy, tough, and quick-tempered. The 32-year-old prided herself in staying in control of her emotions at all times. No surprises for this lady, because her defenses were always up. Secret was the kind of woman who carried mace in her purse and a bat in her car. She had kept more than a few boyfriends or cars back in the day. There was never a shiny short hair out of place because she never missed her bi-weekly hair appointments. Secret resembled an ebony magazine centerfold. Every morning, she purchased her sugar-free, fat-free vanilla latte from Starbucks. She never let anything fattening touch her lips. And thanks to her strict, emotionalist mother, Secret's life's motto was work hard, be hard. Want to cry? Don't cry. Her mother taught her that nervousness and fear were signs of weakness. Even to shed more than a few tears would be frowned upon. She was taught to never depend on a man for anything. That's a little bit of my introduction to my lady Secret. Now you can see someone like that. We have a lot of work to do. And I'm telling you, she's gonna work it. She's gonna work it. So that's from By This Time Next Year.
What authors inspire you?
My authors, my favorite author really is Bishop T.D. Jakes. I love his books. Now he also wrote the first one that inspired me to actually think of writing a novel, period, was his book Cover Girls. It was his novel. Never thought about a novel. I read that novel years ago and I thought, maybe one day. Never even thought about it. Another author is Frank Peretti. He wrote a book called This Present Darkness years ago. That book was life-changing because of the spiritual warfare in the dream. In the book, it was a novel, but there was angels in there was demons in there fighting, there was war, there was decisions to be made by the humans. It was so much going on, and it was so much theatrics and beauty, and just it kept you glued to the page, like, what's going to happen now? And so those are my two favorite authors that actually inspired me to even think about writing a novel before I even knew I had that in me.
Where do your ideas and characters come from?
My idea for This Time Next Year, which I said was when my daughter was in the hospital. So life was the push for that one. And just telling stories to my baby that was fighting for her life. I'd sit there and just tell her stories. And then these characters came up. And I thought about the name Secret. I thought, well, that's a beautiful name. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That secret would have secrets, just to play on words.
Mm-hmm.
And so life inspired, my own life inspired that one in her journey. And Conversion of the Thug, I'm gonna say life inspired that. I was actually a youth minister, my husband and I, some years ago. The boys in our church were fighting. They were from low-income neighborhoods fighting, just carrying on, getting kicked out of school, wouldn't read. And I literally prayed and asked God, what can I do? Because we're supposed to be their youth pastors, and something is wrong. We ain't pastoring. We ain't doing no good job here. And so I prayed and asked the Lord, give me a way to reach these young men. And after talking to my husband one night, and like I said, he was rejected and wound up in a gang at a young age. I asked him, what is it that made you join these gangs? What was it? And it was always rejection and fighting. The same path that he had been on, they were headed to. Mm-hmm. And I began to write, okay, I gotta share the story. And the novel was birthed, and every boy in our church read that book, age 12 and up. They read the book. They all wrote an essay on it. They could tell me about bad cycles, and each one of them is doing well today. And so I thank God for that. So really life inspired all of my work, just good old life.
Okay. How do you market your books?
Now that is a challenge. I am in a marketing world, I'm sure like the other authors. And since I'm self-published, right now I'm marketing on Amazon.com. I have do my Facebook videos. And I'm working on some things actually for marketing to get some more exposure. It's good to have a great book and a powerful novel, but if nobody knows about it, then you're never going to get that word out. And so that's what I'm working on now. So far I've been limited to just the marketing on Amazon and on Facebook, and I do have some more resources, people that are helping me, just making some connections with those that market on Facebook and those who have marketing companies. And so I'm still in progress with working on the marketing to get the book out. But those are my two platforms right now.
Okay, do you have a trailer for one of your books?
I do. I certainly do. I have 2 trailers available.
Okay. What are your thoughts on good and bad reviews?
Well, I actually appreciate both. Now, thank God I've never had a bad review, but that's possible. I want people to be honest. If they read it and they don't like it, say, I don't like it, but I want to know, okay, well, which part? Because it may be something that I can improve. I've written something, I thought, this is just the greatest. Oh man, this is a game changer. Put that out. It's like, no ma'am, that was not the one. And it hurt my feelings, but I thought, you know what? Thank you for that. Actually, I changed it. I did get a bad review when I first submitted my very first book, and they read it and they're like, it's called Coffee Time with Daddy, but you have nothing to hear about coffee. I'm lost. I don't understand. That hurt my feelings. I read that book and I said, you know what? I don't have nothing to hear about coffee. Now it's on the Coffee Time with Daddy. Something in here should be about coffee. If that made sense, because I was trying to get that message, but I left it out the book. So I had to go back and rewrite it. It made me better. It made me more detailed. I thought, okay, that hurt my feelings, but thank you so much, because that needed to be fixed. You don't put no stuff out there like that. You got to have a thick skin, because you're going to do your best as an author. You're going to think, this is awesome. Woo! And somebody may tell you, honey, you missed it here. It's going to hurt your feelings, but get better. Okay, what was it that I need to do? Don't be so offended till you can't ask a question. What do I need to change here? How can I fix that? You have that thick skin. It's going to make you better and better, and you're going to be an excellent writer. But those bad reviews are essential. They're important, because sometimes we think we're all that and we're not. You have to hear it. You have to hear it. We don't need yes men all the time. If it's bad, you need to know it's bad. Just fix it. That's all you got to do. Good reviews, it lets you know, hey, I'm on the right track. The message that I was trying to put out is getting out. And that's just encouragement. So take the good with the bad. If you're an author, like this one lady told me, she said, if you're going to put your name out there, you be prepared. People going to say different things on Facebook that are not nice, and some will be nice. You have a thick skin. If you're now a public figure, Hey, get out there, do what you got to do, but don't be so quick to get offended, because you will be offended. But you take it with a grain of salt and you just improve and get better. That's all you got to do.
What has been your publishing journey?
Oh, it has been a journey, and it's one that I'm still on. My first experience was not good. However, I'm glad about it because I learned from that experience. It was kind of a bogus publishing company. I was lured in and they took my money, did not make any corrections to my first little book. It was horrible. I was proud of it and showing it off, and I got to reading that book and I was like, oh my God. Nothing was fixed, no corrections made. Spelling was horrible. It was just so bad. And they charged me a lot of money. And next thing you know, they out of business. I wonder why. And so this is called Coffee Time with Daddy. However, the first version was called When God Drinks Coffee. That was the horrible book. Same message, but it was a horrible book with no editing, just horrible cover. So I was so hurt by that. So I said, okay, I need to get it redone. But that caused me to research reputable, good co-publishing companies. I was still self-published, but they did a lot of the legwork. It helped me to do my research. See, I didn't do my research at first because I didn't know to do research. They said they were a Christian company, and they actually were not. They were taking people's money. And so, but it caused me to do my research and find a very good publishing company. And I did that, and I began to get more and more knowledge. And so by the time, I have different publishers. By the time I got to my current book, I was able to pinpoint a faith-filled African-American author and publisher, because I felt like they could more reflect the characters. My characters were African-American, and it's the Black experience. I thought, okay, let me try to hone in on that. And I actually found a wonderful woman of God that published the first version. And so it's just a matter of y'all just doing your research and feeling comfortable with your publisher or the person who's going to help you get your book on the market. Feel comfortable with them. Trust them. So that's been my journey. I feel like I'm at a good place now, finally.
What is something you want your readers to know about you?
I want my reader to know that, I'm writing these books, but behind these books, there's pain, there's passion, there is praying. Every word that I put, I ask God, Lord, give me the words to say. I'm definitely a person of faith because I don't want to just write books. I want them to be effective. And there's a lot of urban books on the market, beautiful covers, but inside is full of a lot of bad language and a lot of, sexual stuff. And that's good for some readers, but that's not going to help anybody. With what we're going through right now with a pandemic and people are dying, we need some books that are entertaining, but that give good wisdom, that'll make you laugh, cry, but that also bring change to the people that's reading it. That's what we need during the pandemic, because other stuff ain't going to help you right now. We're in a serious situation. But you also need that entertaining piece to keep the reader engaged, get them involved in the story. It's not just people like us, but these people go through things like we all go through. They go through changes like we go through, and there's resolution. So I want the reader to know, hey, pick up a good book, get involved, but pick up one that can truly change your life and your heart. And I hope my book is one that you'll consider doing that.
What are you reading right now?
Well, right now, to be honest with my 4 and 6-year-olds, the only thing I've been reading is Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood and Peppa Pig, honey, every day. So, however, I'm still writing on a sequel to my novel. But for as reading, it actually takes a little time. I got to have time to write, time to read, kids' books, magazines. But the most recent book I've read is, I think, Entering the Courts of Heaven. And it is a wonderful book. I can't think of the author's name right now, but I've been reading that. It's basically a book about prayer and asking God to heal you and fix you and to change your life. So I'm reading books of inspiration that can motivate me, and that can also help me make changes I need to make in my life.
Okay. What has been your greatest accomplishment as an author?
I'm going to say my most recent book. When I tell you by this time next year, sitting in that NICU, seeing my daughter with tubes in her belly, down her throat, tubes in her scalp. They had to put little wires in her scalp because she was so premature, born at 1 pound. You could literally see through her skin. She was so pale and just tiny. She was 12 inches long. That's the size of a can of Coke, the can of Coke. Imagine a baby that small, fighting for their life. And so seeing her at that point, knowing she was on life support and no chance of hope, that full recovery, and then me sitting there every day praying and going to the chapel and writing and still speaking life, although I didn't feel life, to still keep speaking. You're going to be okay. By this time next year, we're going to be home. And guess what? By that time next year, she was home. And we were on a journey with her. That little toot is something else. She brings it to her mommy every day. Okay. Baby, she's something else. She's something else. And she's loud and she loves to laugh and she's beautiful and smart, just a miracle. And so that's my journey. I'm proud of that book because she started that. We started in a horrible place, but out of that horrible place of pain and seeing your baby in this position and you're helpless, that's where the helplessness. And so when I had my main character named Secret, it was a lot of me in there. And a lot of my emotions came out in Secret's actions because I wanted to tell people, I wanted to tell them a thing or two. But she did it. Where I couldn't do it, my character did it. Things I wish I would have said, she said it. So I think it was a lot of therapy for me as well. And then through her transition of being just mean and stuff, how she at the end of the book, y'all want to love her. She's an awesome woman filled with love and the things she goes through on this journey. And I'm proud of that 3-year journey that I was on with by this time next year. This is my baby. My most recent baby is really, well, see, look, there I said it. My most recent book feels like my baby because I guess, it kind of is. So.
What are you currently working on right now?
Right now, I'm doing a sequel to By This Time Next Year. And I'm telling you, this is going to be good. And I say this because I do a backstory. A few months ago, I started to think about elderly people and when coronavirus was really taking them out, and I mean, they was going through a real tough time. This idea came to me for a backstory that my main character, Secret, she's sassy, she don't take nothing. How did she get that attitude? Who raised her? So the sequel is giving you a backstory of who raised her and how she got that way. She was raised by a group of powerful women. And it's no coincidence that my mother has 5 beautiful sisters. My mother's 76. She's the oldest of 5 sisters. And when I tell you they don't bite their tongue, they are strong, they will tell you like it is. If they didn't like my book, they say, Harriette, I don't like this book. But they all loved it. And I knew, thank God. Because if they didn't, they would have told me right up, this don't make no sense. I need that push. And so my character is raised by a group of strong women, and that's how she is. That's why she has her attitudes. And y'all, it's a lot of good in this. There is a scene that I'm writing you are going to love. There is elderly women in here, 70s, late 60s. One is 84. I'm portraying them as beautiful. Just because you're elderly, that doesn't mean you're not of any value. These women are sassy. They like to fight, okay? And they are physically beautiful. I want to show the elderly, you are important. We need you. We need your wisdom. And this book is going to strongly reflect on not just my main character, but also the women that raised her. And there's men in here that are elderly, that are strong men, that are handsome men. Because I know some good-looking old ladies. I mean good. Beautiful, beautiful. You don't lose your looks just because you get over 60. I know some beautiful elderly women that are strong and powerful. Call it of God will set you straight, and we need that voice. So my sequel speaks to that voice of the elder generation, showing that we need that. And y'all are going to love this. It's something in here for everybody, but that's what I'm currently writing now is a sequel to By This Time Next Year.
Where can readers find you and your books?
Well, I actually have a website. It is www.harriettepatrickbarron.com. That's BARRON.com. And that's that's the place where all of my stuff is, and my blogs of encouragement to different people, things that are going on with me. Now, I don't have any speaking engagements. I don't know who currently does, because it looks like my state is headed for another shutdown, to be honest, soon. So they locked it down. So I'm even our church just barely reopened, and I mean barely. So, y'all, we're facing some times right now where, you're not free to roam like you used to be. And I can go here and go to all these book fests.
Mm-hmm.
You got to use what you got, use what's available. So I don't have any engagements coming up, but I'm still writing, and I'm still encouraging people through my Facebook post, on my website. So just go to my website, and that's Everything Common. If you don't have time to do that, you can find me on Amazon.com. My books are also listed there.
Is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
Well, I thank you for this opportunity, and people like you help people like me have a voice. It's great to have a great product, but if no one talks to you, no one interviews you, you don't know who to talk to. I was also there as well. You're just frustrated. You have a great message, but no one knows about it. Mm-hmm. And so I appreciate people like you that have stepped forth. They have a platform to say, you know what, I'm going to give somebody else just a voice, just to say a little something. And I appreciate that want to see each other encourage and see each other make steps forward. Mm-hmm. And my message is, we can help other people. That doesn't mean that we're any less. It doesn't take the shine off of us to help somebody else shine. We all have a message. You have a platform, and you're using that to push other people, to push messages of hope, and just all kinds of messages, and to push that. And we need that. So I appreciate you giving me this opportunity just to speak from the heart, and to let other people know, hey, I have some products available that could actually help you during this time of crisis. Even when this is over, they're just great reads, and just something that can kind of help you get through all this that's going on right now.
All right. Thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.